I'm Kendall Givens here with the OSDN, and I'm here with Riley Harms. Riley, how are we doing today, man?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for being here. Okay, Tigers are 3-0 and heading to a big week.
Yep.
How you feel about it?
Kind of feel pretty good about it. I mean, obviously we came off a really good win last week against Arkansas Tech, but this week's a completely different challenge.
What makes it a challenge?
Yeah, Harding in general, they're just a great football team, right? They're super solid, super fundamental, and then that triple option offense, you just get less opportunities offensively.
Absolutely, and I know with the offense that we run here at Washington, I know it's kind of hard to keep those possessions, but as you know, we do run the football a lot,
That's
so
right.
It'll be a quick game. We're going to pivot a little bit. How did you get here, man? Where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm from Fremont, Nebraska originally. Grew up there my whole life. And then I went to Nebraska Kearney for the first 2.5 years of college. They kind of morphed more towards the triple option themselves with the quarterback they had, so I decided to transfer during COVID. I came down here in the spring of 2021. Yep.
Was that transition good, or was it hard being from Nebraska coming to South Arkansas, man? I know it's nothing like that.
It was tough, but I'm pretty lucky just with the team we have, right? I mean, that made the transition a lot easier. Being away from my family was hard, but I love this team, and that made it a lot easier.
Good. Now, I know when you got here, man, it wasn't that easy, man. I know that you had a ACL injury.
Yep.
What was that like?
Yeah, that was tough. That was the second ACL injury that I'd had. So that was the only thing that made it a little easier was that I knew what it was like. I knew what that rehab process took. So going through that was really hard, especially when I'd won the starting job for the first time in my college career. I was really looking forward to that fall, but that's life.
What was different from the first ACL injury and then the second ACL injury that you had?
Yeah, well, I mean, looking at it, the first one, it happened kind of like a certain incident, right? I got hit and it tore. And the second one, I went in for an MRI because it had been bothering me for quite a while and found out it had been torn for a few months. And then also, too, the surgery was different, right? I had to go through a different graft because the first one was already used. But I think having already been through it, I knew what it took, so I was able to mentally process it a lot better. And I mean, that was probably the hardest I've ever worked, was during that rehab process.
And you speak of the mental aspect, man, and I know that tearing an ACL or even just getting injured, like a sprained ankle or anything like that, I know that can be hard mentally, man. How did you stay positive through that whole process?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, and like a lot of coming back from injuries is the mental part, like you said. It's not really getting over the pain or getting over like the actual injury. It's getting over that mental hurdle. And I think confidence in anything, comes from hard work. And so when I got back, I knew that I'd worked the hardest I could possibly work at it. So I felt good about it and trusted it.
Talk about confidence, man. Like I said, we began the interview with us being 3-0, the Tigers being 3-0, and the offense kind of looks different this year, man.
Yeah,
talk to us about that.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a huge part of what we're trying to do this year is change, because it's 9-2 is really good, right? It's a good football season, but at Washington we've got a different standard, and it's easy when teams can limit you because you only have one thing to do, right? This year we got to be able to throw it better, and we've shown that a little bit. We're still kind of evolving towards that, and TJ and you, I mean, we've got 2 or 3 really good running backs, so that makes it really easy on the quarterbacks, right, to be able to turn around, hand it off, and get 5 or 6 yards a pop. But at some point, whether it's a penalty or a fumble or something happens, we're going to have to be able to throw it a little more.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, when we played against OKBU, that was your first game since 2019?
Yes, yeah. First game since 2019.
First game since 2019, okay. First game since 2019. So what was your mindset like? Were you nervous or did you have any jitters or anything going to that game?
I was a little nervous beforehand. I was more nervous about the weather, actually. Like once we got there, it wasn't really about playing football for the first time in a long time. And that weather, that just combined with being the first start and on the grass field, there was a lot of factors. And, that kind of led to the poor start. But sometimes that happens.
So overall, I would say you had a pretty good game, or did you think you could perform a little
No,
better?
that was definitely not, my best individual performance. But luckily, we've got a good offensive line and a really good defense that kept us in that game and helped us pull away there.
Absolutely. Riley, we're going to take a few steps back, man. Earlier, I mentioned your transition to Washington, transferring from Nebraska Kearney. And I know that those schools are kind of different, man. What was your life like transitioning at Washington as far as school and then on the field?
Yeah, it definitely took a few weeks. The big thing was like the size of the campus, the amount of people. I was used to a lot bigger campus, walking all over the place, seeing a bunch of different people. But now that I'm into it. I love it. I love it's a lot more personal, right? You pretty much know everybody you see on campus. You know the teachers really well. I enjoy that a lot. And something else, too, is the weather. I like the weather a lot more. Obviously, other than the 20-inch snowstorm we got in February of last year, that's a big one.
That was crazy, man. As we look, you know, you have Harden this week, and we don't want to look past Harden, taking it one game at a time. But as you look, you know, towards the rest of the season, man, what are some of your goals that you want to accomplish this season?
Mm-hmm. I would say truly just becoming a balanced offense, right? Being able to throw it on first down, not just handing it off and putting ourselves in 2nd and 6, trying to move the chains faster, which takes the load off of you and TJ and Zaylen and those running backs. And then it's also easier on the offensive line. And I think it makes it easier on Coach Derby too, right? If he's able to mix it up and he's able to trust the passing game a lot more, that sets up a lot more stuff.
Right. Any personal goals for yourself?
I mean, just win every game we play, really. That's all I got.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's a team player.
That's right,
A great answer, man. Really great answer. Thank you for joining us today, Riley.
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate this,
Absolutely.
man. Really enjoyed it. For the OSDN, I'm Kendall Gibbons.